who would be sort of if you could describe a little bit further, who would be the types of companies that would be benefiting most from this? If you can tell me a little bit more about that.
Of course, yeah. So, I mean, in today, digital and web stores and e-commerce is a critical part of driving revenue for most businesses, but in particular, retailers and brands, as the high street is becoming more challenging. A lot of retailers and brands are switching their budgets to focusing more on converting online customers and combining, their offline customers and the online experience to drive additional revenue. So most of our customers would be medium-sized to large-sized retailers. They include people like Morrison's in the UK, which is a large supermarket chain, grocery and actually fast fashion brand. We have a lot of fashion customers, and so we would have traditionally had our heritage in working with fashion clients, everybody from Dolce & Gabbana to LVMH. And so, yeah, we have a broad customer base across lots of verticals. But yeah, our typical customer would be medium-sized enterprise level customers to large in the retail and brand space.
Very, very good. And could you tell me a little bit about the folks within the companies that are championing for your product? Is that, a head of marketing? Is that maybe a CEO, even up to that level? Or what is your sort of your sparring partners usually that you're working with?
It's interesting. I mean, we actually would deal with various different levels depending on the size of the customer. But typically we are dealing, the sales team would be engaged with the head of e-commerce, the digital director, the marketing director, online director, IT director, that kind of level. Often I'm engaged with the CEO and owner of the business, whether that's a medium or large size business, given that digital and online is a very strategic part of companies' growth. And so we try to engage and share our experience so that we can help our customers on that journey.
Very interesting. I tend to talk with some of the CEOs quite a bit about the sort of the path to identifying, to finding the company, to being, excited about the product. How would you describe the user journey of somebody, identifying Kooomo as a potential solution, and maybe then, going ahead? What would be the sort of the channels that they would be going through in order to start working with you guys?
Well, a good example actually would be there are about 250,000 customers who are currently on Magento 1, which is an e-commerce platform, and they are ending support for Magento 1 this year. And so there is a lot of customers who need to find a new e-commerce platform, and they need to switch platforms. And so they would be a very good, target customer base, because they're looking to, innovate, create a better solution for their e-commerce web store and online and offline experience for customers. And so they will be looking at platforms like Kooomo as an option for them to grow and develop their online sales.
Gotcha. And would you say this is primarily driven through sort of inbound, you getting, content out there, or would you, function rather on an outbound work, given that you're working with large accounts? Maybe you can give us a rough overview of what you guys do.
Yeah, sure. I mean, actually in this market, there's a lot of peer-to-peer. So a lot of customers, talking about the good experience they've had with Kooomo. So we get a lot of referrals that way. But obviously we do a lot of, thought leadership content. And so we have a content marketing team where we, hopefully support the market and support the wider education within the market, because the e-commerce market is a complex one. And there's a lot of immature markets where there's a lot of big knowledge gap in e-commerce. And so we see it as our role as one of the vendors to help nurture that market and help bring the information to light. So, and share best practice and experience that we have with the customers, where we've grown them from zero revenue to multi-million online businesses. So yes, so content marketing for sure, inbound leads through our website as usual, and we do a lot of our own events, and then we participate in other events as well, other trade events. So it's a real combination of a lot. But I think one of our key channels to market would be working with agencies. So web agencies who create the look and feel of the web store on the Kooomo platform. So we work with a lot of agencies across Europe who would work with us and identify clients and have a discussion with us then about Kooomo being the right platform for them. They would create the look and feel, and we create the whole back-end experience.
Very cool. So
we're almost like the engine there. We're the engine behind e-commerce.
Awesome. That sounds. I think it's a really great way to put that. You mentioned that's very interesting. Actually, a lot of different channels that you're leveraging there. What would the website play? You mentioned the website there a little bit through with the inbound leads. What role would the website play in the whole sort of orchestra of you winning clients? Is that maybe if you could characterize the role of the website a little bit?
Yeah, I mean the website is critical because our business is creating great customer experiences through web stores. So it's very important that our website reflects our experience and our knowledge in the market. So we are actually in the middle of doing another version of our website. It's a constant, like most entrepreneurs and most businesses, it's a constant evolution with a website and constantly updating it and maintaining it and improving it. So we're no different, but I think we are different in that because the e-commerce space relies, obviously on web stores and the efficiency of the web store and the user journey. The website is a very important part. But in terms of opportunities and working with medium to large size enterprise, I think case studies are a big part of us, getting inbound opportunities, because ultimately customers want to hear, what other customers in their market are doing, how they've evolved their e-commerce solution, how do they future-proof their solution. And so, that's a very good way of us sharing those stories with the wider market.
Makes a lot of sense. I had a lot of conversations with CEOs, and what was interesting is that they are involved to a very different level into what is going on in the website in terms of, to the depth of metrics that they're looking at. What would be metrics that you care about for the website? What is maybe a few things that you have your eye on?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I come from a digital background. I've been in digital for the last 20 years. So, built my own online business as well. So I understand that area, and I'm very keen to understand the key metrics, and some of the key things I look at are direct traffic. Mm-hmm. So what direct traffic is coming to Kooomo, because that, I think, represents how much of a brand presence we have in different markets and how much of a share of voice we have in media relative to our competitors. I think referrals are an important one. So what sites are referring customers to us so that we can understand what are the most effective channels. I think, organic search, so BOSS and NBOSS, so branded organic search, which again is people typing, Kooomo into the browser and then ultimately ending on the website, and non-branded, which is, optimizing our content so that people are getting to our website when they're interested in omni-channel, for example, or they're interested in personalization or web stores. And so they are some of the key channels. And then obviously I look at the conversion rates, I look at the metrics around that, I look at what's successful, I look at our page campaigns, all the typical things. But I'm very much focused on those channels, and that's how I look at the ROI around how effective our marcoms are when it comes to digital.
Got you. Makes a lot of sense. It's interesting. We usually check the website before the calls quite a bit, and what I noticed for your website is that you having the request for a consultation as a call to action. Sometimes we find that there is a demo, a free trial. Like, how do you think about that? Like, what in your scenario, how did you come up with this call to action being the right one? And are you, maybe running experiments on those kind of things?
Yeah, we do. We actually use many different tools. Obviously one of our roles working with our customers is to maximize conversion. And so we work with many different tech partners who plug into the Kooomo platform, much like PathMonk. And we work with people like VE, Pure Clarity, and many different types of technologies that plug into the platform. So we use many technologies ourselves on our own website to look at the fall off rates, look at cart abandonment of the site. We actually use VE quite a lot on our own website, which is a way of, it's a digital assistant effectively, and that comes up with some more information just before you close the browser to encourage people to stay. So the website, in terms of the conversions, we look at all those different technologies around the use cases. The reason we offer requested consultation is that, we have been in the market for a long time. Kooomo was spun out of our sister company, Zero Grey. So we have actually been delivering e-commerce solutions for 2 decades. Kooomo itself was spun out in 2015, but there's a lot of knowledge there, and I think often our customers want to just hear, best practice, and so requesting consultation with some of those people seems to be an effective way of us engaging with customers in an exploratory way, and then we have a recorded demo on Kooomo as well. So, yeah.
Very cool. Very interesting. Thanks for sharing. Very, very, very interesting. Maybe one last question on the website, and I would like to switch gears a little bit and learn a little bit about yourself a little bit more. The question would actually be, if you have some learnings, some war stories to share on how you were able to increase the conversion, maybe for requests or consultations. You mentioned you were experimenting with a lot of tools, something that you learned, maybe that even surprised you, that you could share maybe for guys out there?
Yes, I mean, I think there's this constant battle of, walled garden with content, or leaving the content completely open. It's my view. The digital marketeers would argue with me, and probably they are right and I'm wrong. But it's my view that we shouldn't be stopping people from accessing content about our platform, about our company. We should be freely making that available. For example, our digital brochure, it's a new digital brochure that you can download from the Kooomo website. You do have to give your details to do that. And so I often think, are we stopping customers by, forcing them to have to give their information? But, at the end of the day, I suppose we are here to also try and sell Kooomo. So, it's this striking this balance between walled content, open content, and building your database on the back of GDPR. It's more challenging for people to acquire that data now, and so I think that's certainly something I think probably most people struggle with when it comes to digital marketing.
So it sounds like it's still in debate, and it can be changed at some point in time at Kooomo. Very interesting.
You've got to offer both, right? I mean, you've got to offer some compelling content to engage the user on your website, but at the same time, we have to convert those to opportunities and leads. So I think it's striking a balance between thought leadership and content that is valuable for the user who's coming to our website, and then having some walled content to help encourage them to share their information for us to have a conversation with them.
Yep, very, very cool. Thanks a lot for sharing that sort of insights on the website. As I mentioned, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about you as a CEO and leader a little bit within the company. I would be curious. I'm not mistaken that you've been there with the first couple of clients, right? Correct?
Yes, I mean, certainly when we spun out Kooomo, as a separate business, and when I joined in 4 years ago, so 2015, nearly 5 years ago now. And so yes, certainly we had a lot of customers in Southern Europe, Spain, Italy, and some of those markets. And when I joined, we've been very focused on expanding those territories into the UK and Ireland and some of the more mature e-commerce markets. So certainly those new customers coming on board in the UK and Ireland, I've been very heavily involved in signing some of those myself and being engaged with those customers.
Very, very cool. Very interesting. Very hands-on. And you as a leader, how do you think about improving yourself? Like, where would you sort of look at? What would you read, listen to? What is your source of sort of learning and education to be a better leader today than you were yesterday?
I mean, you could say all of the usual stuff like podcasts and all those things, but I mean, and I do, and I read some of the books and all of that, but I actually learn a lot from speaking to other business owners, whether that's, you know, agencies, customers, technology partners of ours. I think you can't beat experience and insight that, you know, people in the market can give you. You know, and listening to people and understanding, you know, where they see the gap for Kooomo as well, because often we can become blinded by our own passion and not listen enough to actually what do people really think, and where are our weaknesses, where are our strengths, and where are the opportunities and threats. And I think, you know, it's fine to do a SWOT analysis with your own team, but, you know, it becomes real when you do it with the market. And sometimes that's difficult, but it's very humbling, and it's the best way, I think, of really being true to kind of evolving the business. If you can take criticism and listen to the market and understand where customers are coming from, where our partners are coming from, we're never going to evolve and continue to grow. So I think definitely it's important not to be arrogant. It's important to be open. It's important for me to be out there speaking with business owners, partners, and technology partners all the time, because this market is changing so fast, and we certainly are a disruptor in that market. So it's important for us to listen.
Very good. I really get the sense that you've been very hands-on involved in a lot of things, down to the level of website information that you have available on your head. Very, very, very good. Maybe one last question to wrap up the interview. When you would sort of go back to the day when you sort of stepped into the spin out of Kooomo, when you guys got started and you were really involved with Kooomo, what would be one advice that you would give yourself today to, you know, take to heart when you started there?
Oh God, there's so many things, isn't there, that you learn when you are spinning out businesses or creating a new business. I think that it's important to consider the corporate structure, and I think that, you know, often we can just run too fast. As entrepreneurs, we just want to get out in the market. We want to make it happen. We want to, you know, sell and get deals and drive revenues. But it's important to ensure the foundations are solid and that you create the right structure, so that you can create a solid foundation on which to grow the business. And the team is a critical component to that, and building a good, loyal team, because it's extremely difficult in a very competitive market, particularly in Dublin. And we've in Barcelona, in Italy, in different markets. And we're finding we have to have teams more spread around different countries, because our headquarters is in Dublin, and it's super competitive. And so, yeah, just getting those foundations right in the team, investing properly in the team at the start. It may seem like you're better to cut corners and get, you know, maybe a mid-level person instead of a really senior person. And it is striking the balance and affordability, and struggling like every other entrepreneur does in trying to, you know, manage cash flow effectively. But I think that's a very important part of it.
Very interesting. I can attest to this. I spent maybe 4 years in Grand Canal at Google, so I know the situation quite well. Yes. I know the pain.
Exactly. And actually, one of the Google board members on our board. So I'm often flagging him about robbing our staff, but actually I think it's the other way around. But anyway.
Very good. Very good. Cool. Yeah, Ciaran, I really appreciate that you took the time today and told us a little bit more about the platform, a little bit more about sort of how you're thinking about growth in this space, and then also about you personally as a CEO and leader in the company. So thanks for taking the time for being part of this episode.
You're welcome, Lucas. Thank you for your time.